Hello, my name is Joe Hennis.
And I'm Jarrod Fairclough.
And welcome to Introduce Our Guest Star, a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. In this show, Jarrod and I are taking it in turns to surprise each other with this week's guest. And this week, for our season finale, it's my turn.
It is.
So, Jarrod, I assume you have no clue who I'm bringing on today.
No, I know. I've already been talking to this person. That's not true. I haven't been talking to this person at all. I have no idea. And it's funny, we've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again. I've just sat here and in the last 10 seconds, I've just gotten all nervous again.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen because I have no idea who's coming. And, this is the season finale, so I'm excited. Now, last time it was the season finale, you surprised me with 2 people. So if you've done that again to me, you can't see me, folks, but I'm pointing to my brain. I'll be watching you, Hennes.
Is that what you watch with? You watch with your brain? That's a thing? That's a thing they do in Australia?
Yeah, it's an
You would think
Australian
you'd point at your eyes.
You would think so.
Brain. Yeah.
But, yeah, all right.
All right.
Shut up.
You do things weirdly down there.
Yeah,
all right, so let's do this thing. Ask me some questions. Let's see if you can guess this thing.
All right. Muppet, Sesame, or Henson?
So, technically, all 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps, but also doesn't help.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Is this person a Muppet performer?
Yes.
Okay, is this person currently Muppet performing? Would they have worked on, Muppets Mayhem that's coming out?
No.
Okay, have they worked on something the last 10 years?
10 years, I don't believe so. I'm going to say no.
Okay, interesting. All right, so not a current Muppet performer. All right, I've got a theory based on what you said at the start. When you said technically all 3, is this person a Henson?
No.
Okay, interesting. I thought maybe you... All right. Ooh, all right. Technically all 3. Haven't worked on anything in the last 10 years. Did they work on the Muppet Show?
Yes.
Okay. Surely not, but my guess... Look, you could have pulled it off. Maybe you've gone for the Hail Mary. Joe, is it Frank Oz?
Jarrod, our guest today is a man who needs no introduction, so I'll keep it brief. Actor, writer, director, Jedi Master. Original performer behind Fozzie Bear, Grover, Cookie Monster, and the one and only Miss Piggy. Frankly, he's a living legend.
Yes,
Jarrod, I am extremely pleased to introduce our guest star, Mr. Frank Oz.
Jesus. You and I have been running, I feel like, a race to get Frank on. Don't think I haven't tried.
Hi, Frank. Can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, there you are. Hey, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
How are you? I'm not feeling well, and I might be coughing in front of you, so I'm gonna go to camera dead here, okay?
No worries.
That's totally fine.
Of course.
But it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I'm Joe. That's Jarrod. We've all met before, but
Jarrod.
Hey, sure, hi, Jarrod. Yeah, I'm
How
sorry.
are you?
Well, we'll try not to cough much, okay?
That's all right. I'll edit out as many of the coughs as I can, so you're fine.
I appreciate it. You have a cough filter there?
No, but I'll the cough filter is just me in editing.
Okay.
we call that a cough drop in the biz.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I've got a cough drop right now. It's a good point.
Okay, beautiful. We've actually met before, Frank.
I know we have.
Yeah, I was going to say, we interviewed when we had Muppet Guys Talking. We spent about an hour on the phone with each other.
Was it a good hour or was it a boring hour?
It was amazing, and I actually I should thank you because the way this podcast works is I didn't know you were coming until 10 minutes ago, which means I'm unprepared, which is the point. But what happened is when I interviewed you, I was told I had 15 minutes. So I did my 15 minutes and I finished, and you went, no, let's keep going. And so I interviewed you for another half an hour, flying by the seat of my pants, and no idea what to do. And I was like, that's a really good interview. because I had no idea what to do and to just go
Exactly
with it.
right.
So
It's much better when it's spontaneous.
yes, and so because of that, I was like, I should do a whole podcast like that. So hence, welcome to the show.
But I must say, you are doing a tremendous job of pretending it's all together. You know?
Oh yeah, that's my whole life.
Yeah,
Frank.
we're
just pretending I have it all
losing
together.
our minds
Yeah.
on the other side of this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's just great that you're looking so together here when I know it's not true.
Oh yeah, just completely. Making
that's
it
like
up.
the life of a puppeteer, where it seems so professional. Above the screen line.
You can probably hear my lozenges in my mouth too. Sorry about that.
That's all right. You're Frank Oz. You can do whatever you like.
So
we just say it's a character choice.
How can I contribute here?
Oh, we're just gonna have a good old chat again, flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, I don't. I'd rather have your pants no part of this.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, firstly, how are you, Frank? How's things?
Well, I have a cold.
Besides the cold.
But otherwise, I mean, I'm fine. Actually, I tested myself twice about COVID yesterday, so thank God it's not COVID. It's just your basic cold, unfortunately. And I was thinking, I haven't been to Australia for 40 years. I think I was there for publicizing Muppets Take Manhattan. I think it was in Sydney and Perth, I think, years and years ago. And I hadn't even seen the city. I was only able to come out a little bit between interviews, but it looked beautiful there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country. Well, I'm down in Melbourne. So feel free. That's a futon. You feel free to sleep on it anytime.
Okay, that's very nice of you.
You're welcome.
Room service?
And if you ever want to come to Brooklyn, sure. I don't know the last time you've been to Brooklyn.
I'm sorry. I can go to Melbourne, but I can't go to Brooklyn.
I know that bridge, that Brooklyn Bridge. I'm waving to you, by the way, across the water from here. I assume you're in New York at least.
I am. I'm in Manhattan. Yeah.
Great. Well, Jarrod, I mean, this is your surprise. I think you should start with the questioning, please.
Well, I'll start questioning.
Oh, you have questions, Frank?
Go for it.
Why the hell not? You're not doing a good job of it.
No, I'm losing my shit down here below the frame.
That's fine. I actually don't want to see below the frame or his pants, either one.
That's fair.
Which are hopefully continue to be below the frame.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we promise. Yeah.
But so tell me, this Tough Pigs is extraordinary because you've been so supportive of the Muppets, and somehow the Muppets have struck your heart and your instincts. How did that happen a long time ago? How did Tough Pigs begin?
That's a big question. I mean, it really comes from a place of pure love of the stuff that you and Jim and the rest of those folks all created. Tough Pigs started in 2001, and I think a part of it came about because there was such a love of everything that came before that point, and for those years kind of leading up to that, there wasn't a whole lot going on, and people were starting to forget, and we were not about to have any of that. We wanted people to remember, like, the Muppet Show was great, classic Sesame Street is great, Fraggle Rock is great, like all these things are just, should be loved by a larger audience. And I think ever since then it's kind of been a struggle to keep it in the forefront of everyone's mind as much as we can as a little website. But I think that's kind of how my fandom started, at least my professional fandom. Jarrod, I don't know if you felt the same way with the Muppet mindset.
Yeah,
well,
I took over, Frank. A guy named Ryan Dozier had the Muppet Mindset, started it back in 2009 and had it for until 2015, where he actually got a job. He now works for Disney in the Muppet Studio. And so he handed it off to me, and all of a sudden I had this pressure and this build up, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. And so that's when I really threw myself into Muppet fandom and really taking a lot more interest in everything you guys had done, both early days and the newer stuff and everything like that. And once it sort of changed my relationship with it, because I was a fan and now I'm a fan, but in a lot more of a different way. I'm sort of this figurehead of a fandom as well. And I have a lot more of these relationships with with Disney and Sesame and with you guys and, you know, the puppeteers. And so it's sort of gone from being just a little part of my life to actually enveloping a lot more of my life and a lot more of what I want to be doing with my life. And it's changed my life. So yeah, that's sort of my journey with, I guess, the fandom. But again, like, I've been a fan since I was born. There's a thing of me when I'm 6 months old holding at my first Christmas a Sesame Street projector that would project Sesame Street on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would have, you know, Grover and Big Bird and all these people dancing on the roof, and it 100% has just brainwashed me. And so, yeah, that's where my sort of fandom stems.
Well, it's wonderful that you guys have been doing this. I mean, you know, there's such affection towards the Muppets, at least the classic Muppets. You know, it's you know, it's just really wonderful you're doing this. The only question I have is, why did you call it Tough Pigs? Like, why didn't you call it Tough? Why didn't you call it Tough Goals?
Because we like you more than we like Dave. No, that's not. That's not why.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So the name came about. It was started by my good friend Danny Horn, and at the time, you know, 2001, we didn't know anything about, you know, what the internet was going to be and what legal stuff we had to avoid. And he was afraid that if you put the word Muppet in the URL name, then Henson at the time would have said, "Oh, we actually own that, so you have to shut down." So he came up with something that wasn't owned by anyone else, and he was planning on writing a book at the time called Tough Pigs and Gentle Frogs, kind of an everything I ever wanted to know about life I learned from the Muppets. So he thought, oh, I'll do this website, and then when I write the book, the website will promote the book. And then he never wrote the book, but the website lives on.
Great. I love Tough Pigs, yeah.
Well, thank you. That really means a lot coming from you.
It really does.
I don't know what the hell it means, but I love it.
Would you consider yourself a Muppet fan as well?
It's very hard to be a fan of my own work. I'm a fan of Jim's work and Jerry's work, and, you know, and Jerry Jules' work and Davey and Richie and all that stuff. You know, I can't really be a fan. They mean, you know, they're all my heart. All my characters are in my heart, and even though I'm not doing them, they're a deep part of me. So I guess that's the closest thing I could say to being a fan.
Sure. Yeah. Do you ever revisit the old stuff? Do you ever rewatch it nowadays?
I don't, you know, and I don't watch. My wife never grew up with the Muppets, so she occasionally has watched new things with me because she requested it. She actually didn't have a television in her home. She came from an academic home, and it's not that I don't watch the Muppets. It's just that I don't watch my movies either. I mean, once I make something, my movies, or if I do a TV appearance, it's kind of, I'm kind of on to the next thing. Occasionally, I'll see something by accident and I'll enjoy it, but I don't really revisit the movies I direct or the performances I do. I just kind of don't do it.
Well, I can recommend all of your movies if you haven't seen them. Really good.
Really? So yeah. I should probably see one or two.
Yeah. Start with Bowfinger. That's one of the all-time greats.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Bowfinger.
Yeah, Steve originally called it Bowfinger's Big Thing, and I convinced him to make it Bowfinger. I just felt it was just, you know, the sexual innuendo wasn't necessary there. But, you know, when you have a script when you have somebody like Steve writing a script like Bowfinger, you can't really lose very much.
It is amazing. Just the scene of Eddie Murphy running across the highway is one of the best scenes in any film.
That was quite something.
Yeah. I actually have a question about Steve Martin. I've noticed that you know, a lot of directors will reuse actors, but you never really did that except for Steve Martin. Was there something specific or something special about Steve Martin that made you want to work with him over and over again?
it's not that I don't reuse people. It's like reusing underwear or something. No, I don't reuse people. But I mean, Steve and we trust each other, and I'm very blessed that Steve trusts me. But I think it's just happenstance. I mean, I think my experience with Steve was first for I think on the Muppet Show, and then on the Muppet movie, we did a scene when he was the waiter, and then when I did Little Shop of Horrors, Geffen suggested Steve, and I said great, and then after that, I think he trusted me as a director and felt I knew I was doing enough on Little Shop to when I asked him when I was offered Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, I asked Steve. And then what happened? Then I think there was a movie Steve asked me to do. Oh, he asked me to do Bowfinger, and I asked him to do another movie. And I think when you have somebody you're fortunate enough who trusts you and who's so brilliant as Steve, it just kind of happened. But I don't do it intellectually. I'm just blessed that it happened.
For sure, yeah. I assume that's a similar relationship to you and some of the directors that have hired you as an actor or performer over and over again, like John Landis,
No, that
Doctor Ryan. Now Ryan Johnson has used you a few times.
No, those are always mistakes, and they all regret
it. Yeah, well, that's why you weren't in Knives Out too.
No, that's true. It was actually a mistake in the Knives Out one. I overheard them offering the part to somebody else, and I kind of jumped in, and then they were embarrassed to say no.
Well, I think it was supposed to go to Dave Goelz, wasn't it?
I think it was, and I think but fortunately, I was in the movie because obviously I carried the picture.
You did.
Yes, you did.
You did.
When we have people like that who really aren't talented and don't know their business, I had to step in and take care of it.
It's funny. I saw that film not knowing you were in it, and when I was in the cinema, you've popped up, and I've just gone, that's Frank Oz. And I'm with like a bunch of my friends who know the Muppets but don't know Frank Oz. And they couldn't understand why I was so excited. I'm like, that's Frank Oz. Like that's a legend. And they're like, can you shut up? I'm trying to watch the film. I'm like, all right, sorry.
Yeah, forget the bald guy. Just let me watch the film, okay, please.
Never forget the bald guy.
It was actually Ryan and Rom, the producer, became great friends with me and Victoria, my wife, during the shooting of Star Wars. And so we just had such a good time. And also Leo, who's now a producer too, he was more of an assistant. They're great people. And so Ryan asked me to do it, and I said, you're out of your freaking mind. No. And I said, I'm not going to ruin your film. And eventually I said, yes, as long as you have cutaways enough. So if I screw up, you have enough to cut away to. And then but I did it mainly just because I wanted to play with the guys,
That's a good reason. Yeah. Yeah, it was such a joy to see you pop up there. What a gift. And maybe he'll put you in the new Poker Face TV show. That's
I haven't seen it. How is it? I haven't seen it.
I love it. I've been watching it very slowly because I don't want to overdo it and then not have any more. So I still have a couple of episodes left to go, but I'm obsessed with it. I think Ryan Johnson is a genius of a filmmaker. So from here on, I'll see anything he does.
Yeah, I gotta see it. Yeah.
It's been cool though watching you pop up in things like you've got like again Knives Out, and then with like Dave in Inside Out, just a little cameo, and then
that was a mistake too, and Pete Pete certainly regretted Dave's part on that. I know that.
Yeah, he told me. But then there was just a couple of months ago the Storybots with you and Dave playing these little fishermen. And that was like a treat for all Muppet fans. We were all so excited. I think I watched that thing about 10 times that day.
Yes, each time we did it, it was Ezra who was the director, and wonderful guy, great friend now. Ezra would be in California, Dave would be in California, a different location. I'd be in New York, and we'd record these 30-second spots, and each took us 3 hours to do because we were so ridiculously, stupidly laughing all the time.
They're so great. They're so great. It's just it feels Muppety, and that chemistry just between you guys after 45, 50 years, you haven't lost any of it.
No, Dave and I we're very, very good at being extremely stupid.
All the best people are.
I would pay so much money to get just like that raw footage of the two of you talking about your hat in Inside Out or whatever. Just like to hear you just going on and on and on. Like make a whole podcast series about that. I would eat it up.
We had so much fun. Eventually, Pete, we were just laughing hysterically. We have a great time, and that kind of relationship, all based on Jim's attitude and life and work.
Good, yeah. I mean, that's a great lesson to take from it that I feel like not a lot of filmmakers get, and maybe the studios have gotten too big, or I don't know why, but we definitely recognize it when we see it. That there's a fun atmosphere behind the camera.
Yeah, it's when corporations now own the movies, the corporations are more interested in bottom line, and that kind of permeates through all the movie makers too, sadly, as opposed to, I was doing when I did Death at a Funeral in London, and we had such a great time, and it's the only movie I've made. Well, it's the only movie I've made that was not a studio. I've done big, Paramount, Disney, Columbia, et cetera, movies. This was a tiny little studio, and so as a result, no one was really saying, "Hey, Frank, we got to move." Although that I'm always told as the director, but we had so much fun, and that's the kind of thing that I learned and Dave learned from Jim, and it's the kind of thing that some people, not all people, but some people in the business have forgotten that this business, we're privileged to be here, and we can have fun.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you, the three of us, are having fun now. I'm not going that far.
I mean, let's just move on. Are you kidding me? This is one of the greatest moments of my life. What you?
As long as that's your pants, I'm happy.
I've got pants on. Don't worry.
I don't care. I don't really care. I just don't want to see them whether you have them or not.
Okay. All right. Well then, because I am lying, so I won't stand up.
Fine. It's none of my concern. It's kind of between you and your inner integrity.
Yeah, and I think between the chair at this point too.
Yeah, if you're
stuck to the chair, it's leather.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you have a very sticky ass there. I don't know if I want to continue this in this vein, because I have this visual image, and it's kind of. Can we go on another? Can we just take that visual image away from me?
Yeah, let's go. We'll jump into another topic, and we'll forget all about it. Over the years, you're pretending like you actually have a question when you're under pressure because you don't have the questions. So you're like pretending, oh, okay, let's go this way, and you have no freaking idea what way you're going. It's true. It is absolutely true. But I'm gonna barrel with it anyway, Frank. We're gonna get a red hot go.
It makes segues impossible.
Really
speaking
does.
of absolutely nothing, we're gonna say this other thing that just popped into my mind.
One of the funniest moments, Frank, in this show has been we had Marty Robinson on earlier in the season, and he told this really sad story about when he was working over, I think, the Afghanistan version. That's obviously not the funny part, and he
Yeah, the Afghanistan versions are always hysterically funny.
Comedy gold. But anyway, he's telling this really sad story, and then it finishes, and then Joe goes, yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next, and just completely, and Marty and I lost it, because it's like, I'm so glad Joe just barreled through, because I had no way to get us off that topic.
Well, I must say, there was a moment during the Egyptian uprisings when people were dying in the square and they were taking chances calling journalists in the United States. I wrote to CNN about this. Nobody cared and wrote me back, but I was absolutely appalled. It was Wolf Blitzer on the air, and someone was calling from a balcony as they were looking down upon the people being killed, and they were trying to keep quiet so nobody knew they were there, And as they were talking, and then they said after about 4 or 5 minutes, Wolf Blitzer interrupted to say, "I'm sorry, we have to go to commercial now."
Oh.
And I said, "What? What?"
Yeah, that's awful.
No, bad form, CNN. Yeah,
and it just drove me insane. Anyway, that's
It's just,
but we
what you get.
we don't have the
Afghanistan.
scruples of CNN. We'll segue to anything we want
Yes.
with no warning. Speaking of Muppets Take Manhattan, as we're talking about bombings in
Very nice.
Egypt. So I every time I watch the movie, which I do often because I absolutely adore that movie. At the beginning, it during the opening credits, it says that the script is written by Jay Tarsis and Tom Patchett, and then your name
Right.
is below. I believe that means that you had a draft from them and rewrote it.
Right.
Do you recall what the original draft had and what you changed about it?
Yeah. Tom and Jay were very experienced writers. I felt it was too jokey and not character enough. It was driven. I tend to work through character. Jim did kind of both. He made it very jokey, like The Fork in the Road with Jack Burns and Jerry Jewell writing the first one. But I tend to be more character driven, and I wanted to be more about relationships. Maybe to the detriment of the movie. I don't know, because I didn't make it jokey. I made it too much maybe about character, people might say, but that's kind of what I do. So I said to Jim, I just feel this is too jokey. I just feel it needs to have more heart to it and more from the actual characters and not just jokes put upon them. And so Jim said, for me to rewrite it, and then I rewrote it, and then he asked me to direct it. So that's what happened. It's not that the script was bad. I just felt that it needed more from the character's heart. And for instance, getting Kermit in a situation where the amnesia, where it gave Jim more of an opportunity than just do jokes,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's what I did,
But what they had put in their draft, like, it was still like the skeleton of the story was still similar.
Yes.
Of like trying to sell the show,
Yes.
and everyone's splitting up, got to get back together, et cetera, et cetera. Gotcha.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. But there are many things, like the Muppet Babies were not in there, and I thought about that, and then I think there's the name was not the same, and other scenes were not the same. So I rewrote it with a skeleton there, but I put a lot of meat on the skeleton, put it that way, but not to take away from what they did. It's just a different interpretation.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons it stands out as such a good movie to me. It's you're right. It's not as jokey as the previous two movies or any of the Muppet movies that came after it. But I think because it stands out in that way, because it feels like I feel that movie in my heart, and I'm glad that there's not 8 other Muppet movies identical to that. It's the only movie. Muppets Take Manhattan is the only Muppets Take Manhattan, and it works for me. It's always in my top 2 of Muppet movies for sure.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I certainly, all one can do is follow one's own instincts. It doesn't mean that I'm right. It's totally wrong. And a more jokey movie, the script that they had before might have been much better and made much more money. But I felt, and then Jim agreed. So right or wrong, that was my instinct to go in that direction. But it was also, what wasn't there before were these songs by Jeff Moss, and that was new. And Jeff did a fabulous job on the songs too.
Yeah, there's some catchy songs. What is it? I'm Gonna Always Love You by Baby Piggy. What a banger! Yeah. What a great song.
Oh, Jeff did a great job.
As did you.
Well, thank you. I was just very blessed to have the support of Jim and Dave Laser. Not many people know Dave Laser. Dave was Jim's almost partner, not economically or creatively, but in organizational business. He's the one who really made things happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I hope people who are listening to this will go and read David Laser's Muppet Wiki page, because he was so important to so many
Jim could not
important
have
Muppet projects through the years.
Jim could not have made through. I mean, Jim is the one. David is the one who got the money for Dark Crystal. Dave is the one who would meet in the first year. He would go to the airport in London and actually meet the stars and take them to the hotel. Producers don't do that, but he and he was a wonderful human being. He still, maybe he's ill. He's been very ill, and I don't know if he's survived or not. I haven't been able to get a hold of him for about 2-3 months now.
Well, I hope he's doing okay.
But he's just mentioning him because nobody does, and he's been so valuable,
Of course.
As opposed,
one of those unsung heroes of Muppet history. Yeah.
As opposed to Dave Goelz, who's totally worthless.
I wasn't going to say it, but I mean, we thought it. Well, you've got. I mean, it's not as maybe jokey, but there's some great, hilarious scenes in Muppets Take Manhattan. I think one of my favorites is the Joan Rivers scene, where, I mean, you've basically just destroyed a piggy puppet.
Well, I'll tell you what happened there was, it's very hard to laugh, and it was not working. And we were in Bergdorf Goodman's, which is in New York City, right across from the Plaza Hotel, who at that time it was owned by, it was a public hotel. It was not private. And and it just wasn't working. The scene was not working. So I said to my first AD, okay, get Joan and I both 2 gin and tonics. And he went over to the Plaza Hotel and he got 2 gin and tonics. And Joan drank them and I drank them. And then we shot. And that's what happened. And I don't know what I was out of it. So I just kind of said print and move on.
Great.
I'm not kidding. That's what happened.
Yeah, well, it worked.
Did you only have like one shot once you pass like a point of no return? Where like the piggy puppet is ruined and we only have so many, so we have to.
No, we have it. The workshop is so brilliant that they have to have an opportunity to have. This is the case in any movie. If you have twins, you have doubles of twins. If you have a car, it's important you have to have doubles or triples of that car. God forbid it goes on fire. So there's always a backup. Otherwise, you'd be dead in the water and you'd be losing a great deal of money per day.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, that's just one of my favorite scenes. I know when Joan Rivers passed away, the Australian News played that scene, and I was like, out of everything they could have picked, they picked that, and I loved it. I was quite touched.
It was the best. Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it's. I've been very blessed to first of all, Jim. I owe so much to Jim. I think my parents and Jim, and then Dave Laser too. I've been very blessed to have this support and to work with these amazing Muppet performers. The people have no idea how talented they are and how professional they are. That's the thing about people with puppets. They think, oh, well, just, this would be fun. Let's just do some puppets. And they have no idea that it takes 15, 20 years to know what you're doing, and so I've been very blessed to work with people who I love outside of Dave Goelz and who are brilliant. Dave is brilliant too, by the way.
Yeah, he's all right.
He does all right. He does right for himself.
Okay.
He's been on the program, right?
Yes. Yeah, we had him.
Yes, we've had
in the
Dave,
first season.
Yeah. Well, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I would love to ask about some things that didn't happen. One of which was, we've read news articles from early 1990 that there was going to be a big marketing push called Pig of the 90s, in which Miss Piggy was going to do a whole bunch of things, and then of course that got derailed by Jim's passing. But looking at your history of what you were doing at the time, it seems obvious to me that you were already transitioning into more of like an independent directorial phase of your career. So I'm curious, number one, would you have actually had time to do Pig of the 90s? And number two, what was it going to be?
Well, the Pig of the 90s is as I recall, was a marketing thing that probably Henson people brought up, but I don't recall it being that important. But at that time, prior to that time, there were, as you know, probably calendars and perfume and all these things that Piggy and books from Piggy. and this is, I think, a continuation of that kind of exposure. I don't know if Jim's death really had much to do with that. Probably so, a little bit, but it wasn't significant. The Pig of the '90s wasn't a very significant thing. I didn't feel anyway.
Okay.
What was the first part of that question?
Well, it was going to be, would you have had time for it? But it sounds like
Oh,
you
not
probably weren't
really.
needed that much.
Yeah, I mean, Jim was such an amazing person that he was always supportive of me, even though he was losing me and to directing. But there was a time there that I was both directing and performing, and then as I did more movies, I didn't screw up, and they kept on asking me because I didn't screw up. I did more, and that's the reason why I couldn't do Sesame Street as much, partly because I had 4 kids growing up, but also after that, I was directing, and I had no choice but to give up my characters. It wasn't fair to say, nope, I'm holding on to them. That's it. It wasn't right. Not that I haven't quit. I haven't retired from performing. I just haven't been asked. But Eric and those guys have been doing really yeoman's job, and I always say over and over that Eric is so talented. He really should have characters of his own. It's not fair to him, because he's so
It's
talented.
true,
But nevertheless, I would not have had as much time because you commit to a movie for a long time and you pretty much work incessantly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was wondering. I
Yeah.
mean, we look at Jim's career, and like
Yeah.
how Jim must have had 48 hours in his day because he did so much in so little time.
Yeah, Jim, and that's the reason why we worked so hard, because of Jim. I mean, Jim would constantly work, and it wasn't. He loved working, and he taught us how to love working. And he would even before he became famous, he was. I mean, I joined in 1963, and he was already 8 years working in Washington, D.C. prior to me. But when I joined, he would be there'd be 2 rooms, and in the back he'd be doing animation till 4 o'clock in the morning. He just loved the opportunity to express himself, and the more successful he got, the more cars he could play with on his electric train set.
Sure,
And
yeah.
he was one who never did small talk. It was always about projects or people he loved or things like that. But it was, he'd always talk about projects with people because he always had ideas.
That's
Well,
great.
that was a really awkward pause. That means nobody knows what the hell to do.
That was me waiting to see. Jarrod, did you have a question, or should
That
I?
was me thinking, how do I segue into the next thing? But
no, you don't have to segue at all. You can just jump into non sequitur land.
Jump in.
We're in
Jarrod.
non sequitur land. Obviously you haven't performed for a while. You said you haven't been asked. Is it something if you got a phone call from Sesame tomorrow saying, "Hey, you're free for a week"? Is it something you'd jump at, or would you have to think about it?
No, I would like that very much because as I stopped, I was doing 2 days a year on Sesame Street, and I couldn't do a lot more than that, 2, 3, 4 days at tops, because I was doing many other things, and also because I'd done it for so many years. But I think the reason I'd go back is to let people know what I learned from Jim, which was this sense of controlled lunacy, which I don't sense anymore, and I sense it not being hip or adult. I sense it being little kitty. And the reason I'd like to go back is just to show people, hey, this is how Jim did it. This is how we did it. And it's okay to do it for yourself because you're an adult and just to have fun and screw around, as opposed to make it one note for children. And that's the reason I'd love to go back, is to bring back a bit of that lunacy that Jim taught us.
Well, there seems to be some sort of like false narrative almost out there that, occasionally you'll see a news story that says, Frank Oz thinks, the Muppets suck now or something like that. And you go, well, no, that's not what he said. And then if you read through what you've actually said in like it's a quick quote. It's either something taken out of context or whatever it is. So, let's just, I guess, set the record straight. You don't think the Muppets suck?
No, I think what sucked are the writing for the Muppets. And as a result, the performers have no choice but to do what's written as opposed to ad lib in between. Now, that was years ago. Now, the Muppet Studio these days is much, much better, and they're much more supportive. And, I know Billy, I talked to Billy and the guys, and they had a great time doing a Dr. Teeth mayhem thing. Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. What I'm talking about was years before Muppet Studio, where, and at that time, the guys I felt were not treated properly with respect. And I felt as they did, the writing was they were trying to be adult hip when all they had to do was to be pure. And it's very difficult for people to write pure when supposedly they have to be funny and adult. And people don't understand that the best way to be adult and hip is to be pure.
Yeah.
So that was then. Yes, I felt it was very bad. But the Muppets themselves know, and the performers know, it was always the orders given that they had to do it this way. That's what bothered me.
I think Lee Slaughter, who runs the Muppets now, she really has an idea of what.
Oh, Lee, yeah, Lee is is terrific, and so is, I forgot the other fellow's name. I met him.
Frank. Yep.
Yeah, and so there's people who actually care. In the beginning, earlier on, they didn't care. It was just a franchise.
Yep.
So that upset me because the Muppets are in my heart, and these guys are such amazing performers, and they're so freaking brilliant, and they were not treated with that respect. Now, different.
Is there something that you didn't work on, say, in the last 20 years or so, that you feel got close to what they should have been doing?
I don't know. I remember early on, there are some videos that they did. I remember it was a very popular video on the Who. What was the
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, and that was fun. Yeah. That was fun. But honestly, I don't follow the Muppets as much anymore. I'm just not a part of it. I know all the guys, and I keep in touch with my guys. They're my brothers there, and and some of the women are my sisters there who I deal with. Mainly the guys. They're all blood brothers to me, and I'm close to them. But I don't watch the Muppets that much. In part because I don't watch anything that much. I'm pretty busy, and if I watch stuff, that's why I don't watch TV that much, because I'll just get hooked. I just got hooked on Slow Horses. I binged on Slow Horses the other night. It's so brilliant. And if I do that, I won't work. But the other reason is they're so much part of my heart, and it's difficult for me to see them without me being there and doing them with the guys. Yeah, I want to be there. I want to be there with the guys, and it hurts me when I'm not. And so if I don't watch them, it won't hurt me as much.
I get that. Yeah. I have a question that I feel like I've always wanted to ask someone who is involved with this production, and you would probably know better than anyone. The Fantastic Miss Piggy show, which is a very fun and weird special.
Yes.
I'm also a big fan of Andy Kaufman's work, and I've always wondered if Tony Clifton's appearance in that special was Andy Kaufman, or if it was his writing partner Bob Zmuda.
I don't think it was. That's been asked of me. The truth is, I don't know, because Andy would, between takes, he would stay as the Vegas player, as the Vegas guy, and even when I rapped on his dressing room, it wouldn't be Andy. But I think Andy had enough of a respect for the Muppets. I remember the first time I saw Andy Kaufman, it was the first appearance on Saturday Night Live, the first show. And he was absolutely brilliant. I went up to him. I said, "You're brilliant." And I remember him looking at me saying, "Thank you very much." It was amazing. So, and I think he knew us. And I don't think he would disrespect us after having worked with us and knowing his talent and his purity, and especially his background with puppets on his own TV shows early on. I don't think he would disrespect us by having somebody else there. I just don't believe it. So I can't tell you for sure it was Andy, because he always stayed in character, but that's my instinct.
Great. I mean, that's a good enough answer, is that it was the real Tony Clifton, like there is no Andy in that moment.
Yeah, and I was pretty close to him all the time. I was doing bits with him and working with Tony Clifton, and I pretty much felt it was to Andy. When you're 6 inches away from a guy working all the time, you kind of tell who it is,
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I know we're running short on time. Jarrod, was there anything that you had pressing before we?
Okay, let's go a little longer. I'm in the hopes that it gets better. How's that?
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. Just give us a wave, and I know Jarrod has a hard out.
15, half hour at most. I'm actually getting surgery today, Frank. So this is going to be a very weird day for me.
Okay.
Wait. What surgery are you getting?
I have a kidney stone, and it's coming out today. Yeah, I've had it 6 months.
What? You must be in insane pain right now.
I'm doing okay. It also helps the adrenaline of speaking to you. Is like, well, I can put it out of my head, and I know it literally. I get admitted in 2 hours. So.
Well, no wonder I don't want to see your pants. That's fantastic. You're taking care of it.
Yeah.
That I understand is the most painful pain one can have outside of childbirth. Is that
it's not ideal.
I'm not suggesting that when you have a child it won't be painful yourself, but I'm saying that I'm told that it's really, really, really painful.
I'm lucky in that I haven't had too much pain at the moment, so I'm doing all right. It's had a couple of times. It's been not great, but I've just been trying to barrel through because it was meant to come out 2 weeks ago and they couldn't do it.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
In about 3 hours, it'll be long gone. I'll be in a weird anesthesia dream where I'll be like, "Well, wow, what 2 extremes of a day."
Yeah, I'm very glad you're taking care of it. I'm very sorry if you've been in pain. That's a difficult thing to take, I'm sure, but
that's all right. But hey, I reckon if we can probably go another 15 minutes before the doctor's going to be like, you need to.
Yeah, we gotta do this. We gotta go uphill now because it's been pretty bad so far.
Great. Let's not call it uphill. Oh, we're talking about the interview.
The interview, yes.
Go ahead,
Jarrod.
Well, I know you had written the cheapest.
Right.
Let me try again. I'll try it. Speak English this time. Cheapest Muppet movie ever made.
Right.
You guys did a table read.
Right.
I mean, so obviously there was talk of it happening. Could it be something that you could maybe go and suggest, or is that now completely gone?
No, I think I don't want to suggest anything. I mean, essentially, if they're interested, they'll come to me. But what happened was when I did Muppets Take Manhattan, it was the third Muppet movie, and it did fine. It made its money back. It wasn't like a huge hit like the Muppet movie was. And then second, the Caper made good money, decent money. But then the third movie, it wasn't as much as a novelty. And I think the Muppet Show was over then. So we knew that if we want to do a fourth movie, it was going to be difficult to get the budget. So my suggestion was, well, let's do a fourth movie and just admit it that it's going to be a cheap movie. Just say it. And so I told Jim and Jerry that. I said, let's just call it the cheapest Muppet movie ever made. And the idea was that we would start in, maybe like anamorphic or the equivalent of CinemaScope, the old days. And then when you lost money, it would got to go to 35 millimeter basic normal ratio. And then when Gonzo blew the budget, it would go down to black and white. And then go down to 8 millimeter, and then when we got more money, it'd build up again, to back to anamorphic at the end. And then there was, all these ideas that we had, and Jerry Jewell wrote a script, and it was great, and I still have it, but it was also expensive. It was a great script, and then and I think Jim passed, and I then rewrote it, and I don't think I did a very good job. We did the table read. I don't think it worked very well. I was missing things. I reread it and I realized I didn't have songs in there like I should have. And there's some, I think, things that really worked and some things that didn't work. And so I asked Jim Lewis to help me. And we did that rewrite and everything. But then what happened as we were going, and it was unfortunately that Disney really was kind of using me in the background. They were asking Jason Segel to do a script while I was doing this script. They didn't tell me that, and so that was not a pleasant experience. But the intent of it was to work in an economic way, to the degree that part of it was that the rats. I couldn't shoot the movie with beautiful lighting and beautiful production design because that's where the money costs. You couldn't afford that with the Muppets, especially, and especially to rig the Muppets the way we used to do. So I was trying to figure out how to practically shoot it in a way where we could do it on the floor as opposed to dig trenches and things like that, and where it wouldn't have to be beautifully lit. So I decided that Bunsen was creating these small cameras for the rats, and they're about 2 inches big for the rats. And so all the rats had cameras, and they were the camera operators, and they were crap at what they did, and they didn't light properly, and they and they framed lousy. So that was an opportunity to use character to shoot economically, because it would be very clever. I'd have to shoot if I see Kermit and Piggy, probably in the background, I'd see a rat with a camera by mistake, and he'd hide, and another rat was. So I'd have all the rats as camera operators, which I thought would be funny, but also would say, hey, the rats can't afford costumes, they can't afford lighting, they can't afford, and that allowed me to shoot it in the way that was economic. That was the idea.
Brilliant. Wow. I love that.
Fingers crossed some version sees the light of day at some point.
Nah,
I just have to read that script.
If someone wanted to email us that script just so we could see it. I mean, I'm just putting it out there into the universe.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, because the script is the old script where years later I realized where the mistakes were made. Like, basically, there were not enough songs. That's one thing that's so strong about the Muppets is the songs, and they're not doing songs as much anymore. And I fell in that trap. I was more involved in character. So I don't think it's ready for shooting, but it's ready for a rewrite to make it right again. And Jim certainly helped a great deal.
Joe and I can give you some notes.
That'd be lovely.
Sure.
Right.
Would you
can you imagine the audacity? The audacity of you and me giving notes to Frank Oz. I can't get over that. I can't even joke about that.
Not give me notes when you're actually in recovery.
Say again, sorry?
Don't give me notes when you're in recovery in a few hours, okay?
Yeah. No, all right. I'll do my best to be completely fine.
That's when the best notes come, I think. Yeah, the morphine and then script notes. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, 100%.
Boy, I can't believe you're having surgery.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We could continue this discussion in the OR.
I'm on board if you are.
Right?
It's going to get real weird.
I kind of want to do that.
Real weird.
Bring your microphone to the hospital.
Bring your mic to the hospital. You know, and during the OR, I mean, I'll probably have to leave you when they put you out, unless they need some help, and I'll be happy to help.
Just give some tips.
Yeah.
We'll get one of them to film it on Zoom, and you can direct.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do this, do that. Great. All right, I'm on board. I'll
tell
them
to
the doctor.
Tell them
we'll see how we go.
You played a doctor in Superman 3, and they'll let you into the OR. Easy.
I did. I was friends with Chris Reeve, God bless him, and we got very friendly during the Muppet Show. He brought me in to do a part, and I did, and they cut me out. So
terrible. How dare they?
It's been a sore point for my entire life. Of course, but no, rightfully so. They cut me out. I'm sure this is the trouble with the director. You have to cut people out, and I hate it when I do it myself. I hate it.
I'm sure. Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah. Is there anything you've had to say from Muppets Take Manhattan or something you can remember that you had to cut that you really wish you could have kept?
I have the worst awful. To this day, I die inside a little bit when I remember this. It's still.
I'm sorry to remind you of it.
Well, there's a scene, and I just feel so awful. There's a scene still after all these years where the Muppets arrive in Manhattan and they have no place to stay, and so I created this locker room for them, where they stayed in the lockers at the train station or plane station, wherever it was. So
Hang on, I forgot I own this. Keep speaking, Frank, while I grab something.
Are you having surgery right now?
Yeah, no. All right. So this is a podcast, so no one can see this, except for the three of us. But this is actually an original lobby card.
All right.
From Muppets Take Manhattan.
Oh, great!
And they're in the lockers.
For those of you who can't see with this, which is all of you, there was a scene where the Muppets had no place to stay in Manhattan, and they saw the lockers there where you could rent a locker and put your belongings in. And so that became where they stayed. That's going to hurt me to even say this again. It's just awful. And I wanted to have not just Muppets in there, but I wanted to have a couple of human beings in there. So I asked a couple of little people. And again, I don't care. I don't like calling little people, but many little people like being called little people. It bothers me. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, so I asked a couple found a couple, and they were in there and in the scene. And then it was fine. And I edited it, and they had no dialogue, the two of them. But one of them was a little low in the frame, I think. Anyway, because of the pacing of the scene, I had to cut him out. And it was, I was a first-time director. And so I cut him out, and I didn't think much of it. And then the time the premiere came out in Lincoln Center, a small room of Lincoln Center, a screening room, and I didn't tell the person he was cut out. And all of a sudden, down the hall, I see him coming with his wife and two kids. And he comes down the stairs to see himself, even if it's just, he had no dialogue. He was on screen for about 4 seconds. He was so proud to be part of the movie. And I was sick over it. And to this day, from that moment on, from this day, if I ever cut anybody out of a movie, I always write a note to him ahead of time. It was just, to this day, I feel sick about it,
Oh,
yeah.
So now that I wanted to get you in a very depressive mood so you wouldn't need medication.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll just...
Are you numb? Are you numb yet, Jarrod?
To this day,
it
still makes me sick when I think of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's forgiven you by this point.
Well,
40 years later,
it was awful. In any case,
I'm curious about something else
Frank.
I'm curious about something else that might make you sick. This question came from Ryan Rowe, who is hosting another podcast for us right now, along with Anthony Strand, where they're watching the Muppet movies 2 minutes at a time. They've been doing this for a few years, so they're already most of the way through Muppet Christmas Carol at this point. And they're starting to prepare to...
wow. Is that like punishment?
Yeah. Is it punishment? Not yet. Wait till they get to Muppets from Space. We'll see.
Oh, God, don't mention that. Please mention that. That is the worst.
Well, I have to, but before we talk about Muppets from Space, I want to ask, they wanted to ask, because they're starting to prepare for Muppet Treasure Island. What did you really think of Fozzie Bear and Mr. Bimbo?
I just kind of, when I do Fozzie, when I'm asked to do a role, I don't think, unless I really have problems, then I talk to the director, I talk to Jim about it, but I didn't really think much about it. I just kind of tried to do the best job I could,
All right.
Yeah, because again, I think there's maybe there's a story out there that like you hated it at the start, but by the end you were pitching gags.
No, I don't remember that, but then I won't remember this interview tomorrow either.
Or me either, but that's because I'll be whacked down on meds.
No, I don't remember, unfortunately. I just don't, but that's the only answer I can give, unless it's
that's fine.
If there's things that I truly don't believe are right for the character or anything that's good, I'll bring it up. But I don't remember just liking it and then liking it afterwards. I don't recall that.
Yeah, of course.
So what do you remember about Muppets from Space?
I'm sorry?
Muppets from Space. It was this movie you did in 1999.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say it again, please.
I think my microphone cut out. I was asking about Muppets from Space. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep asking.
I'm sorry. I just can't. Something's wrong with your mic. I can't hear you.
Oh, what a shame.
It was awful.
You think so?
The script was awful. I told Brian that ahead of time. The director didn't know what he was doing. I'm sorry, but it was just awful. Yeah. It was just dreadful. And the idea that Gonzo was an alien was just repulsive and ridiculous.
I do like the fact that everyone's just forgotten that he was an alien. Like everyone's just gone. Let's just forget that happened. That's not canon. We'll just move on.
It's just a blip. I know I'm supposed to be very nice to fellow directors, and I don't really know the fellow that much, hardly at all. But you know, that Brian went ahead with it, was shocking to me. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, especially that there was an earlier script by Jerry Jewell of this Muppets in Space, which I know very little about. That I'm surprised that was passed on.
I don't recall that.
All I know is it was going to be probably more Pigs in Space, Star Wars, Star Trek references, things like that. Mm-hmm. And they made, apparently Welch's Grape Jelly made a series of like jelly glass cups with Muppets in Space branding. Yeah. And that's the only piece of merchandise that exists from this movie that never got made.
All the time. Well, of course, knowing Jerry wrote it, Jerry was so incredible, and he knew the characters and the relationships inside out better than anybody else at all. And I'm sure that would have been wonderful, you know.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I think why when Jarrod and I were asking, you know, jokingly asking you for the cheapest Muppet movie ever made script, you know, beforehand, it's not just so that we can see something that no one else gets to see. It's knowing that there's stuff that people like you and Jerry Jewell worked on that the world doesn't get to see. It's like, God, I just want to absorb that.
The trouble is what I did was I changed it so much. And the reason I changed it so much was only economic, not because of Jerry did a great script. He's so brilliant, but I knew we couldn't shoot it. It was just too expensive. So what I did is I changed it to the degree that you wouldn't really see a lot of Jerry stuff. And I changed it to the degree that it was still in process and it's really not good enough to show yet. That's the trouble, you know, but I do, I still love the ideas, you know, the idea of, I think, you know, art to a great deal is based on how much economy limits you. I think art works through limitations and not through freedom. And the idea of having only limited amount of money to do a movie forces you into creative answers. For instance, like the rats not having enough money to light, which allows me not to light, right? But I didn't carry it. I carried that part that I felt was successful, but I didn't. What the rest of it wasn't successful. So it was too talky, too wordy, too much dialogue, and not enough music. And that's what I was missing.
If I can just quickly ask Frank, I know that we need to start to wrap up shortly. Just one question I think
you have like maybe what you have to go like the hospital or something.
Oh yeah, something like that. Something relatively important.
Yeah.
But one question that I'd kick myself if I didn't ask, and I'm sure Muppet fans are screaming at me to ask you.
I would really, after your surgery and after you're all healed, I would love to actually see someone kicking themselves, because I find that very difficult to imagine.
I'll give it a red hot go. Look, while I'm whacked out on meds later on this afternoon, I'll give it a go. I'll film it. I'll send it through.
You could do it then. That'd be good.
Yeah, cool. What is the camel?
Like Dave Goelz. This is how sick Dave is. I would say that I said to Dave years and years ago, I said, Dave, I was making fun of him. I said, Dave, look at yourself. And he said, I can't. I'm in here. Now, that's strange.
I like it.
Okay. That's like kicking yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, the question is, what is the camel?
I'm sorry?
What is the camel?
Again,
talk about it in
that microphone just does not working properly.
Damn it, worth a shot.
No, not going to happen.
Damn it. Nice try, Jarrod.
That was Dave trying to get a twit of me, and I'm not going to allow that to happen, even now.
Damn.
Is there something that you wanna drop in this interview to make a twit out of Dave? As a bit of petty revenge?
No. Dave knows how much I love him, and he loves me, and I think our relationship, you know, after 45 years is so close that I don't think it's my place to really say anything about him that's pretty obvious about his twitness. There's no reason to act. It's
That's fair. That's fair.
Putting a hat on a hat. You don't have to actually talk about a person's twitness.
It's true.
Speaking of talking to Muppet performers, first of all, I mean,
Nice
we said this
segue.
earlier,
Nice
but thank you
segue.
for
That was good.
segue. How about that? Thank you for making the documentary Muppet Guys Talking. That still is such a gift to Muppet fans, and especially to be able to do that before Jerry Nelson passed. Like
God bless.
what a great thing to exist in this world.
Yeah, exactly. And it is my wife who did it. I mean,
Oh, thank you to her.
yeah,
That's really special.
She saw one night. She saw me. No, actually, she was in the airport and she called me at dinner, and I was screwing around with Dave and Billy, and I forgot who else was there with the guys, and she heard all was going on. She thought, geez, I didn't grow up in the Muppets, but people would love to hear what they're doing on there. So she tried to convince me for a year, and I said no. I said no. I said no one's going to be interested because it'd be boring. Because you understand, when I was 19, I came to the Muppets, and that was basically the job I've had. So for me, doing the Muppets is like going to the office for an insurance salesman. For me, it was life. So for a year, she waited, and finally she convinced me, and then and then we did it. So you really got to thank Victoria for that she saw the value in it,
Yeah, well, thank you to Victoria, because I'm just so grateful to have that in our lives. Do you have any?
Victoria wanted
to have any?
I'm sorry, I just want to say Victoria wanted to do it because she's a public speaker with and besides a performer, but she wanted to do it to show other entities and corporations how one can have a corporation that's humane, like Jim, with a leader like Jim. So that was her reason for it. For me, I wanted to show the original Muppet performers before it was too late. And thank God Victoria had us do it before Jerry left, as you said. I apologize. I didn't interrupt you.
No, it's all right. That was a good interruption. Do you have any plans to release more of the footage that you shot?
It's not that I don't have plans. There's so much. There's about 10 hours, and the problem is that I don't have time. Sure. It takes a long.
I volunteer. You want to send it through? I'll get it done this afternoon while I'm whacked out.
I have it on a hard drive somewhere, but I just don't. I'm just so damn busy. or at least I'm pretending to be busy. I'm not sure which, but no. There's a lot going on with my life, and I just don't have the time. That's the trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that leads to my next question, which is, with all the stuff that you're busy with, is one of them working on another documentary? Because I know you've talked before about possibly doing something similar about your directorial work.
Yeah, no, I'm not working on a documentary. There's a book I'm writing about prepping, how I prep movies, and there's because I think people don't quite prep movies as deep as I believe is necessary. Whenever I've gone to do talks, I was, for New York University and Chapman and other places, I was surprised how little people talk about prep. People talk about the theory of film, and they talk about performance and working with actors and editing, but not many people talk about prep. So that's one thing I'm doing. And then there's a couple of, small movies. I don't want to do big ones anymore. Small movies that I love to shoot, and then there's other stuff going on.
Great.
Well,
we will be
front
row
and read all of it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Just because I know Joe's going to ask you the final questions in just a moment, I just have one last question, but it's for Joe. Joe, how are you going? And the reason I ask, Frank, is because we've spoken multiple times on this podcast about Joe getting starstruck, and he said the only person in the world who makes him tense up because he's so starstruck is Frank Oz. So I just need to check in with Joe. How are you going?
Thanks for putting me on the spot there, Jarrod.
Wait. My ego's involved here. So if he says, no, I'm okay, I'm not starstruck, you totally screwed me over. Okay?
Yeah, well,
that's... If he says, what, Frank Oz? No, I don't, no big deal. Then how do you think I feel? Okay?
No, I'll tell you, Frank. I'll give you an answer that'll hopefully make you feel good. I was terrified at the beginning of this thing. Terrified's not the right word. I was very nervous and apprehensive at the beginning of this thing, but you have been so kind and so welcoming, and your voice is very soothing to listen to.
You do have a very soothing voice.
You've put me at ease.
Are you saying it's soothing, or is there a more sensual aspect to it?
I wasn't going to say. I'm not showing you what's going on below the frame here, Frank. So you'll have to guess.
That's what I talked about in the beginning, right? I didn't want to go there.
No, we're not going there.
We went there at the end.
No, sir.
We got there. All roads lead to that.
You know, it's so funny. I mean, and by the way, I know you have surgery, but your doctor can wait.
100%.
He has a lot of people to cut up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so funny about that, because my wife will say, "Oh, look, they know who you are." I'm saying, "What are you talking about?" I never even think of myself as a celebrity, not in the slightest. And I take great pride in knowing and sensing and feeling and totally believing that I'm a worker. That's all I am. I'm a worker, and I love my work. But the celebrity and fame thing, I never have any idea about that. Never. So that's other people. That's not me.
I mean, I'll always remember for the rest of my life the first time you and I ever met, which was we ran into each other on the street in Manhattan.
Really?
Yeah, it was on Broadway in like 66, somewhere around there. Where we were, it was like in front of the Apple store, and I had one of those moments of, oh my gosh, that's Frank Oz, and you were there with your wife, and I stopped you and said hello, and the look on your face of just pure shock that not only does someone recognize me, but this guy also happens to run a Muppet fan site. What are the odds? And you were very kind that day. We took a photo. It was very much a highlight for me to get to. Oh, do
that's
that
nice.
with
you. Yeah, it's so funny. I have no time for fame or celebrity. It's so nonsense. It's just all I care about is the craft and the work. That's really all I care about. It's all that matters to me. And I gotta say, I know it sounds odd, but I have never once done a job for money in my life, ever, except for when I sold for 15 minutes. I tried to sell rug shampoo on 14th Street. That's the only time I tried to get money.
And was that last year?
Huh? That was
last year. Yeah,
well, that was about 2 years ago, because I was fine last year. But no, it's very nice of you to say that, but it's true. I guess I am always surprised. It's true.
I think the best way, Frank, for us to describe what it's like to speak to you, because I used to liken this to you after I'd interviewed you for Muppet Guys Talking. My brother was like, "Oh, what was it like?" And now my brother's a massive Beatles fan. And I said, "David, imagine that your phone rings and it's Paul McCartney. And you get 45 minutes an hour to talk to Paul McCartney." And my brother's like, "Oh, okay, so this is a big moment for you." I'm like, this is the pinnacle. So it's been a genuine delight. I mean, this is, like I said, this is a weird day for me, but a great way to start it.
Well, the good thing is, thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say. I mean, I'm just talking to you guys. I don't know. I never think of myself other than that, but the good thing about all this is that once you're in recovery, you'll totally forget this ever happened.
100%, which is good, because then when I edit it in a few days,
it'll be like brand new.
To it for the first time.
Be brand new for you.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, there were so many things I should have asked.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Frank, at the end of every episode of this podcast, Jarrod and I each have a list of questions that we like to ask our guests. Okay. Because you were my guest this week, I get to ask you my list of questions.
Can I answer them before you ask them?
Oh, let's try it.
Give it a go.
Right. Go for it.
Okay. How many questions are there?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions.
Okay. Yes, no, orange, yes, no, possibly, huh? That's pretty much my answer. So there's no reason.
Well, thank you for your time.
I'll just drop them in.
It
Please
makes
go ahead.
Legitimately no sense. All right. First question. What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, it's so hard to choose between key lime pie and ice cream.
What flavor ice cream?
Great choices.
Mocha chip.
Detail. Mocha
chip.
Great choice.
I know. It's so hard to stay away from that.
It's true. It's one of my favorites as well. Grater Smoke a Chip. Ugh, I grew up on that. Who is your favorite superhero?
When I talk about superhero, or you talk about superheroes, and this is not really the answer you want because you just want a quick answer.
Answer it however you want.
Take your time.
You want to go have dinner. But superheroes, to my mind, are when I was 12 years old, 10 years old, my brother and I were stealing comic books from each other. And the comic books we stole were of Superman and Batman. And even there was Black Hawk. There was, there was Plastic Man. There was, all the old guys. So when I think of superheroes, I think of those superheroes from Plastic Man to Superboy to Superman to Batman to those are the kind of superheroes that are in my mind, not the ones today. I don't know why.
Those are my favorites as well.
Why hasn't anybody done a movie about Plastic Man? It just doesn't seem right.
I know, right? It seems like it would be easy right now. There's a couple of actors who I love who've been very vocal on social media about like, it's time. Cast me. I'm ready to go for Plastic Man.
Yeah.
You would make a great Woozy Winks if they make that movie. Do you remember Woozy Winks? His sidekick.
I feel like I've gone under anesthetic because I don't understand any of this.
All right, we'll get back to Woozy was his very human sidekick. He just kind of ran around with Plastic Man. It doesn't matter.
All I remember is I do remember also Wonder Woman, and I love the Mad Magazine takeoff when she slammed the door and crashed the whole plane.
Great.
Go ahead.
So this next question is a bit of a cheat because there's a real life answer, but we'll see how you go with it. If there was a Muppet based on yourself, who besides you would you want to perform it?
That's interesting. Probably Dave Goelz or Bill Barretta.
Yeah, great choices.
Both of those guys.
Frank, please pick a number between 1 and 100.
Okay. Do I have to tell it to you?
Can you tell me? Can you tell me what it is?
That's not a trick. If I tell you, you say you're right.
I will tell you you're right, but that's not what we're doing here. I'm not guessing.
Okay, 9.
9. Great number. Is it 9?
Thank you very much. I was very proud of
that. So on the AFI Top 100 Movies list, the number 9 movie is Vertigo. Have you seen it? And if so, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I saw it years ago. I was very confused the first time I saw it, and I still actually have to see it again as an adult now to really make sense of it because I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I've been watching some classic Hitchcocks lately myself, and like just amazed that these were movies that weren't made recently. Like these were decades ago, and they still resonate so well. Today.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very good at his job. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's an understatement, but sure. In our previous episode of this podcast, our guest, Bobby Moynihan, asked this question, not knowing who our next guest was going to be. If you could recast any movie with the Muppets, what would it be?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's any of his business. Okay.
I agree.
That's fair.
That's something that's kind of private. But would you repeat that question? That's a bizarre question.
Absolutely, it is a very bizarre question, and I'll elaborate if you would like. But verbatim, he asked, if you could recast any movie with the Muppets, what would it be? So I believe he means if you could take an existing movie and then get rid of all the humans and replace them with Muppets, what movie would you choose? I see.
Well, the usual movie would probably be Casablanca, but Piggy and Kermit, I imagine. That's the natural one.
Sure.
Although I think maybe my favorite would be Eraserhead with Beaker.
Oh, perfect.
Well, now I'm just upset that doesn't exist.
I would love to see what David Lynch does with a Muppet movie. How bonkers would that be?
Beaker would be perfect. Eraserhead. Come on now.
Yeah, it writes itself. It's perfect. Our final question. Now, this is our season finale, so this question will only really come up.
So basically, I'm throwing you off the air here. This is it.
You're throwing me way off. This is it. Yeah,
I'm throwing you guys off the air. This is your last
Yeah.
hurrah.
Yeah.
You're getting us
Well,
canceled.
for a while.
Okay.
Without knowing who our next guest is, what question would you like to ask them?
I'd like to know,
And they're gonna be really thrown off by being asked a question by Frank Oz.
I'd like to know, was Herculaneum more affected by Vesuvius than Pompeii?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, good one.
That's a thinker. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Pompeii. I went to both, but I couldn't figure out if Herculaneum had really been affected as badly and just didn't get the press, or did Pompeii really get it badly? That's the question I have for them.
And it's topical, which I like. I like that it's a topical question.
A detailed answer too. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we'll have them show their work on a separate sheet.
Yeah.
Well, Frank Oz, thank you so
cow.
much for taking the time to chat with us today. This was such a treat for both Jarrod and I.
It was my pleasure. And Jarrod, I wish you the best with the surgery. Just take care. Do me a favor after you come out. Just be gentle with yourself, okay?
Of course, always.
Okay, that's it's always it's wacky after surgery. So just don't think you can do more than you can, because it's not wise.
All right, I'll while I'm sitting there, I'll just be like, Frank Oz told me not to move. And I'll have to agree.
Just be nice to yourself.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Yes. Not nice to Joe.
Thanks again, Frank. What'd you say?
I won't be nice to Joe. Not nice to Joe. I won't be nice to Joe.
Why?
No.
Why
and
start
I'll send
now?
Dave Goelz a really aggressive email.